In this video, I'm going to go over factors and multiples. So let's suppose we have the number 90. And we also have the number 140. We can write down the factors of each of these numbers. So factors are numbers that divide evenly into them. So in the last video we went through divisibility tests, so we can use divisibility tests to help us figure out what the factors are. So the factors of 90, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, and then the rest are going to be paired up. So 9 times 10 is 90, and then we'll have 6 times 15, and 5 times 18, and 3 times 30, and 2 times 45. We also need to write down the number itself, and I should have written 1 at the beginning here as well. Okay, so those are the factors of 90, and then we can do a similar thing for 140. I'll remember to write the 1 in this time. So then we have 2, and 4, and 5, and 7, and 10, and then now we start to get paired up. So 7 gets paired with 20, 5 gets paired with 28, and 4 gets paired with 35, and then 2 with 70, and then 140. So these are all the factors for these two numbers. How about multiples? So multiples of 90, well, 90 itself, 180, 270, 360, and we could just keep going. And then for 140, we got 140 itself, 280, let's see, 420, and then 560, and again we can just keep going. So those are the multiples. Okay, what about the greatest common factor of the two numbers? So the GCF. So we can go through the list of factors and we can mark off the common ones. So 1 is in both lists, and 2, what else, 5, 10, so those are the common factors. And so the greatest common factor is 10. And then what about the least common multiple? Okay, so far, what I've written down, we don't have any common multiples. So I have to keep going in my list, and I'm not going to write down all of the multiples up to this point, but eventually we get to 1260 in both lists, and that's the least common multiple. It's the first time we get a multiple in common in those two lists. Okay, so greatest common factor, least common multiple. Turns out there are a couple of different methods we can use to calculate the greatest common factor and the least common multiple for any two numbers a little more quickly than just writing out everything, because that's not very efficient to do it that way. So one method that works quite well is called the slide method. So the way the slide method works is we write down our two numbers side by side, and then I try and take out common factors. So it's usually easy to start with the low numbers. So 2 is a common factor of 90 and 140, and if I divide 90 by 2 I'll get 45, and if I divide 140 by 2 I get 70, and then just keep going. So we can't take out another factor of 2 because 45 is an odd number, so 2 is not a common factor of 45 and 70. 3 isn't, because although it divides into 45 evenly, it doesn't divide into 70. 4 isn't going to work. 5 is the next common factor I can take out, and if I divide 5 into 45 I'll get 9, and if I divide 5 into 70 I'll get 14. And then now, do these two have any common factors? No, I don't think they do. So we're done. And the way you get the greatest common factor is just to multiply the two numbers in this case, in general, all the factors that are pulled out on the left hand side when you do the slide method. So in this case there's only 2 of them, so we multiply them together and we get 10. And then the least common multiple is we multiply the two numbers on the side but also the numbers along the bottom as well. So 2 times 5 times 9 times 14, and that comes to 1,260. So the slide method is a method for determining the greatest common factor and the least common multiple in a more efficient way than simply writing out all the factors and writing out multiples till we get to a common one.